Hello, this is Dr. Stanley Lang and welcome to this video. This is an update advice video regarding our family health care patients. And because this is deep into the tick season, which actually started some time ago, but more and more people are experiencing tick bites, I wanted to give a brief video that gave you some different alternatives when it comes to removing ticks and to address some of the things that are being said, have been said for many years about what's right and what's wrong in terms of removing ticks. So I'm going to be a little countercultural here because the method that I've been using for more than 30 years has been discouraged by the people that are that claim to be experts in this area. I've always been surprised by this because, first of all, the advice didn't make sense to me. And second of all, the research doesn't support the conclusions that are being given by these experts. So when somebody gets a tick bite, gets a tick, and it's still there, and so you know for sure it's a tick bite because the tick is still embedded, how do you get it out? And so there are these various tools that have been around and been invented, and different ways that people have been described that you should or shouldn't remove it. And so I want to show you the tool that I use. I've been using for many years. It's a very simple tool, and it's the lowly forceps. And the lowly forceps has to be used in a particular way for it to be most effective. And the advice I'm going to give you here now is totally against anything you're going to read on any official website that says what to do if you got a tick bite. And I think they're all wrong. That's why I'm giving you this video advice. Now you can decide whether to follow the advice or not, but I learned this long ago from another doctor who was quite a bit older than me at the time. And what he told me was that the proper way, the best way to remove a tick is to grasp the tick body with the forceps. Now you can't have this big, wide, massive forceps. You want something that's relatively subtle. This is not a very big, you can see the end could be wider than this, but you don't want something massive because the goal is to avoid crushing the tick. That's the idea, and that's why the current advice is what it is, because they think that the technique I'm about to describe to you is going to increase the risk of crushing the tick. In fact, it decreases the risk of crushing the tick. Now, why do you want to avoid crushing the tick? Well, the idea is the tick's got a full tummy, and if we crush the tick with this forceps, then it's going to disgorge the what's in the stomach into the bite itself and cause an infection, cause a higher rate of infection. So therefore, you don't want to grasp the tick at all. Well, what they do tell you to do is grasp the tick and just pull straight out. And that, I can tell you for sure, you're going to have to grasp a whole lot harder to get the tick out than if you use the technique I'm going to describe to you. Now, you have to have a little bit of dexterity to do this, but you don't have to be a neurosurgeon. Anybody that doesn't have a big tremor can do this. And so the idea is that you take the forceps, and usually the head is in the skin, and maybe part of the body behind the head is in the skin. Whatever is still visible, and especially if you can see that the legs are still moving when you sort of tickle the tick, you'll simply put the forceps like this. Like if my finger is the tick, I'm going to grasp the tick like that, and then I'm going to turn like this. I'm going to be holding the forceps with one hand, and I'm going to turn. Now notice my finger doesn't like to be turned too far. Eventually, I hit limits, and the tick doesn't like to be turned like that either. And so, but it also doesn't want to let go. So I can tell you for sure the tick is more likely to let go if you twist the body without crushing the body. And even though you'll turn it 180 degrees easy sometimes, and sometimes even farther. So you might have to turn you might have to grasp the tick and turn it that far. Then you grab the other hand, hold the forceps, and grasp it again like that. I guarantee you the tick will let go. And almost always, if it was alive when you started, it'll be still alive when you're finished. Now, if the tick is already dead, then, you know, it's not going to be alive. It's not going to come back to life through this technique, but you're not going to kill the tick through this technique. That's the point. And I believe, having seen a variety of different methods that people have used to remove ticks, and seeing the consequences of people attempting to remove ticks in the office when I have a part of a tick left that they want me to remove, and you know, there's just a mess left. I am confident that if this is done cautiously, carefully, just enough pressure to grab the tick, and then you turn it, and then you just keep pressure on it with the next hand, and then you turn it, and the tick will let go. You pull it out and dispose of the tick in a place where it can't bite somebody else, because it's usually going to crawl off. In my experience, when the tick always is alive when I remove it, if it was alive, if it was still wiggling when I started the process. So what's the reason for the advice to not do this, but rather just to grab the tick and pull? That's the advice. Grab the tick and pull. Now, they've got some scooper tools and some other things too. Well, because the whole idea is that if you pull hard enough, the tick will let go. Well, sometimes it won't let go, and then the head is embedded in the body. And guess what? The Lyme organisms are already in the salivary gland in many ticks by the time they bite you. So part of the reason for the idea of don't take the forceps and twist it is they don't want to cause you the contents of the stomach to go into the body, the human body. And the bad news is that the research actually shows that there's already ticks living in the saliva. There's already bacteria living in the saliva, the salivary glands of the tick already. This has been proven by European research. Now, the research that's been done in the United States, all they did is looked at how many mice got actual Lyme disease. They didn't do DNA analysis. They didn't do what is called PCR analysis, which is part of DNA analysis at the site of the wound, which has been done in Europe. And so there's much better research that actually looks at, do you get stuff that looks like Lyme, the Lyme organism, into the body quickly after a bite? Yes, you do. Usually some experts in Europe, at least, believe that within minutes you've already got the Lyme organism in there. So you're not missing the boat of getting the tick out before the Lyme gets in, because it's already in most cases. And so the idea that most people don't have Lyme disease because the tick has been in less than 48 hours is not based on any human research, and it's based on very inferior, in the United States, animal research, because they're looking at actual infection rates proven by gross signs, rather than are there Lyme organisms in the skin where that bite happened. And if you look at that question based on DNA analysis of the Lyme organism, it's there early in many cases. And especially it's in the nymph stage, is there much earlier, and the nymphs are so small we don't see them. So so the idea that that we are somehow protecting ourselves from getting Lyme disease by extracting the tick by a rotational strategy that makes the tick unhappy enough, it doesn't like to be twisted, it lets go eventually, and it pops right out, and then it crawls right off when you let go with the forceps. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to trigger more release of stomach contents by this technique. I'm just saying it's less than if you just grab the tick and pull hard, because it will not let go nearly as quickly as if you put a twist on it. And it's usually going to be a full 180 degrees and maybe a little bit more to get that tick to say, okay, uncle, and let's go. And then you can pull it out. So I hope this is helpful. Again, it's completely contrary to current U.S. recommendations, but they're not based on good science, in my opinion. We have a little handout that summarizes, the little bit of science the little bit of research that's been done in this area. But the bottom line is, I think the vast majority of people have already had transmission of the organism by the time they even discover that the tick is there. It's usually, it's usually not immediately that you see it. It's usually hours. And I think the best research suggests that there's already transmission within hours. Some doctors that research in Europe believe it's within minutes. So this debate on whether to squeeze this way or this way is, I think, foolish, because the most important thing you want to do is get the whole tick out. And I have never once, when the tick was alive, removed the tick by twisting, left the head behind. Now, if the tick comes in, the person comes in, and the tick is already dead, well, it's already decomposing. At that time, sometimes the tick won't come out in a whole part, but that you can't do anything about that. So I hope you found this helpful. God bless and have a great day.